several of my cousins in the Hall family, and my cousin Linda, Gary does some traveling, so Uncle Jim has affected a lot of us in a lot of ways that we haven't thought about. He and his first wife, Eileen, were living with my parents for a little bit when Jimmy Dale was born, and I asked Mom what was wrong with my uncle. He was running back and forth to the bedroom and about 3 feet off the ground. Well, after Jimmy Dale was born, they moved into a big house on the west side of town. I'd go over and babysit for him. And still, even then, I could see him bounding up the stairs to the second floor. That he always had such a good spirit. Then they moved over to a pretty little white house with red trim by Grandma and Grandpa's house on Higgins. That way Uncle Jim could stop by and check on Grandma and Grandpa every day. And there our cousin Shirley moved in with them, and she babysat for them while Jim and Eileen were working. And she emailed me a little memory of Uncle Jim. She said he made me a big hero for the junior class in Missoula Sentinel High School. In her junior year, they were having homecoming parade, and since she was living with Uncle Jim, I guess she approached him about, would there be any way you could get me a 18-wheeler type trailer? Well, sure enough, she said he came home with this great big orange truck and trailer, drove it in the parade for him, and the boys in the class had gone around and got bathtubs and boilers and everything else they could beat on. So they beat on all these things on that trailer all the way through the parade, and they got first prize. She says, I became very popular with my classmates. Uncle Jim, at some point, drove a big delivery truck from Bonton Bakery. He was doing long haul, but then he did Bonton Bakery, and when he would pull up in front of our house, oh man, I had to show that big truck off to all my girlfriends. And then he went to Bonton Bakery, and that was more of an enclosed type big truck. But he would pull it in the back, and he would open up the back doors. And if you don't think that was heaven, I don't know how he ever got all of his bakery goods delivered, because it smelled so good back there. Laughing at all your tales of eating. I can remember when he was, I was real little, but he was bigger. And Grandma would have everything set up on the counters for us to go in, fill our place, and sit down at the table. Uncle Jim would just come on, and he'd find his place. The rest of us might not even said grace or anything yet, but he had his plate and he was eating it. It was always that way. And he was the lucky one that never showed on him either. The one reason he quit truck driving in Missoula because he had about 3 wrecks. The last one, he drove this big semi in between 2 pine trees, and the third one was out front. And they finally said, what's going on? And he went to the doctor, and he was having some kind of blackouts. And I was too young to know what the cause was, but that ended his trucking career. Uncle Willie, Uncle Glenn, Uncle Jimmy, and my cousin Bob Johnson all went to work for Consolidated Freightways in Missoula. And Uncle Jim was offered a job to manage the docks down in San Francisco. So he thought, well, that'd be a pretty good job, had a young family, good income. And he went down there. Of course, he'd been used to that dock in Missoula where everybody worked together. Got down to San Francisco. This is something he only told me about 3 or 4 years ago. And he said it was impossible. They had unionized, and nobody did a whole job. They did one little thing, and he passed on. He said, no, that wasn't for me. I want to work as a team. So he came back, and they went to Wallace Kellogg, and then on, and he worked for his father-in-law, Mr. White, in the Hudson dealership for a little while, and then went on to Spokane, and that's where he found the mobile home dealership that was to become his life. When he got there, we would be going back and forth between Kennewick and Missoula, and so Pat and her family would be going from Vancouver to Missoula. We'd always stop to see Uncle Jimmy, and most of us hadn't had an opportunity to be in mobile homes at that time. And we used to think those were castles. Going to see Uncle Jim, going through all his pretty mobile homes, and then going to lunch was a big deal. I think that's most of my memories. No, I got more, but for today. But I just want all of you to know that Pat made the comment yesterday. Well, all the Purdy kids are back together again for the first time in a long time. And boy, I bet they're having a really good time. Those of us that are here today from the Purdy side of the family, I just want Jan to know you were the best thing that ever happened to Jim in his later life, and we love you for it. We bless you. I married a man who was older, and I had 5 kids, and so I know what it was like for him coming into a big family. From Mine ended up 7. But thank you, kids, for being support to your mom. Who will be support to my cousin Larry, my cousin Jimmy, and to Shannon, and to Ron, and Mackenzie, because you guys are the last of the Purdy blood on Jimmy's side. We love you. We always will. And we'll always be together.